Hi, this is Mike Shore, and today I'm going to show you how to create a folder within your web project and also move some files that you may have as files from the author of our textbook or from another source into an existing website. First thing I'm going to do here is click on my website location, and I'm going to add a new folder. I'm going to call it Chapter 4. And then I'm going to add to that, instead of adding a new item to create something new, I'm going to add an existing item. And deep down in the bowels of my laptop, I've got the files that go with our textbook. So I'm going to grab those. And this is simply the test page that they talk about in the textbook, so I'm just going to add that. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. Obviously, not a whole lot going on with this. And notice that there's also a code behind page that came right along with it. Notice you didn't see that when I was looking at the directory for this. So again, this is a typical situation. Now, if I do a view in browser at this point in time, I'm getting the default page that was created for me. I didn't create an empty website. I created a standard forms website. So this is the default starting page, which is your default .aspix page. But the other thing besides showing you how to add a file to your website, the other thing I want to show you is how to debug your web pages, because it becomes very important when you have a complex amount of coding in your website to understand how to debug. And debugging is simply looking at your code while it's running. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I'm going to follow the textbook, and I'm going to go ahead and look at my code behind. And I'm going to go ahead and slide my mouse over. Notice this is the line right here that the authors set as a breakpoint, as a place to watch what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and click in this lightly shaded column on the left, and notice I get this red dot. That tells me that when I execute this web page, it's going to stop on this particular page and move back to the code and allow me to look at the actual values coming back. So what I'm going to do right now is, with this page open, I'm going to press F5. And it's going to go through the build process, make sure that my code is okay. And notice that it didn't run just the default page. It ran specifically the page that I was working on. So I'm going to type something here. So I'm going to type 15, and I click button, and it automatically, my Visual Studio started blinking at me in my status bar, and notice that it came back and it stopped right where I told it to. Now I can roll over my item there, and notice it tells me that the text value is 15. Remember, anything coming back in a text box is going to be treated as a string. So what I'm going to do now is I want to go up here and notice these little arrows: step over, step into, step out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and step over, and notice that my code goes to the next line, and it's going to take val times 2, but what is val right now? it's been converted to 15 by this statement right here. Double, try parse, in other words, make an attempt to convert this to a double, a numerical double, right? So after I get done, it's going to put that value of a double of this thing into val. So at this point, val equals 15. I'm going to multiply it by 2. So after I execute this line, it should be 30. Now if I look at what val is, notice it is to 30, and it's going to convert to string because it's going to come out and it's going to put a label on my web page that says so. So I'm going to go step over, step over, step over, and now it goes back to my web page. The doubled number is 30. And that's all there is to using the debugger. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And notice it comes back to my web page right where I left it. One last thing I want to point out is, if I don't have a web page open, so I'm going to close the test page, and I'm just pointed to here, and if I do a function F5 again, okay, it's going to do a build on my website, but notice by default it's going to go to whatever my default page is, in this case my home page. There is a way to point to a different page, and I'll show you that in another webcast. This has been Mike Shore of the Web Technologies Department.